Tamara, a 33-year-old woman, was always full of life and affection for her loved ones. But suddenly, everything changed. She tested positive for COVID-19 and had to isolate herself in a room, away from her children and mother, who were her reason for living. Take advantage and subscribe to the channel to follow stories like this. Away from the touch, the hug, the warmth of the people she loved most, Tamara felt the weight of the virus not only on her body, but also on her heart. She was exhausted. The constant pressure on her chest brought a silent fear, that fear that her next breath could be her last. The pandemic was still an unknown shadow, and news of deaths arrived every day like echoes of terror. Her family, distressed on the other side of the door, could do nothing but pray. And they prayed with faith, with love, with tears in their eyes. Each prayer was a hug from a distance, a reminder that, even though they were apart, they were together in soul and heart. Tamara felt this love penetrate the walls, like a light in the darkness. This is one of those stories that show how strong love is, even when fear tries to take over. The silence in the room was almost deafening. Tamara, with her chest tight with pain and her heart filled with fear, could no longer distinguish physical fatigue from anguish. In a moment of despair, with severe chest pain and labored breathing, she decided to seek help. In the emergency room, the news was as hard as the pain. Her oxygen saturation was low, a clear sign that something was wrong. But there were no beds. With no alternative, she was sent back home, carrying not only the weight of the disease, but also that of uncertainty. At home, her mother, Claudia, tried to be a strength in the midst of the chaos. With silent care, she prepared food for Tamara, while also doing her best to take care of Diego and Miguel, Tamara's sons, beautiful boys, full of energy and in need of their mother's affection. They felt her absence like an open wound, and she, on the other side of the window, watched life go on without being able to be a part of it. Tamara watched her children playing in the backyard and, even smiling from afar, she couldn't hold back her tears. The longing hurt. The fear of not being able to hug them again infiltrated every thought. It was a tightness in her chest that had nothing to do with the virus. It was the pain of being away from the one she loved most. One afternoon, her cell phone rang. It was a video call. On the other side of the screen, her Aunt Regiana and her grandmother Maria. The shaky image revealed her grandmother's distressed face, marked by despair. Maria couldn't stop crying. It was hard for her to accept that her granddaughter, full of life, was now facing an invisible and frightening enemy. Tamara, even though she was weak, hid her pain behind a smile. She played, told stories, showed the makeshift isolation room and tried to convey lightness, even when everything around her seemed to be falling apart. Her grandmother, with tears in her eyes, kept asking the same question. "Are you okay? Tell me the truth. Are you okay?" And Tamara, even though she was begging for strength inside, just smiled. Because sometimes, being strong is the only way to protect the ones we love. As soon as the video call ended, silence once again took over the room. It was then that Tamara could no longer hold it in. She broke down. She fell onto the bed, her body exhausted and her soul suffocated. The tears flowed silently, like a scream that only her heart could hear. Her heavy breathing made her search for strength to even stay seated. She quickly turned on her inhaler, in an attempt to alleviate that distressing feeling of shortness of breath. But at that moment, more than her body, it was her spirit that needed to breathe. With her eyes turned to the ceiling and her chest tight with worry, Tamara searched for a way out, for light. That was when a gentle thought crossed her mind like a whisper. When you are going through a great difficulty, light your baptism candle, pray with faith and ask for the grace you so desperately need. It was something she had heard from priests throughout her life, and now, more than ever, it made sense. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and watch it until the end. Determined, Tamara got up with effort. She took a shower and ate calmly, but her heart was already in the prayer she was about to say. She took the candle she had kept so carefully, the same one she had used for her baptism, a symbol of the faith that had accompanied her since the beginning of her life. With trembling hands and a firm spirit, she lit the flame. She knelt on the floor. Cold, her body tired, her lungs gasping for air, but her soul full of hope. With her eyes closed and tears streaming down her face, Tamara prayed. With all the faith she had, she asked for healing. She asked God for strength to carry on. There, in that small flame, she saw the light she needed. Tired, she lay down. But that night, something extraordinary happened. She had one of the most beautiful dreams of her life. She dreamed of Mary, the mother of Jesus. In the dream, Tamara was sitting, and in front of her, Mary appeared with a sweet countenance, radiating a peace that no fear could overcome. She smiled and tenderly caressed Tamara's face. She wore a white veil that fell gently over her hair, and a warm, welcoming light emanated from her body. It was as if heaven itself had come to say, "You are not alone." That night, Tamara slept in peace, enveloped by the certainty that God was with her. It was a brief dream, but filled with a peace that human words cannot describe. When Tamara opened her eyes that morning, something inside her had changed. Fear still haunted her, her body still struggled, but her heart was at peace. She knew, with a certainty that only faith can give, that everything was going to be okay, because she was no longer alone. That visit in her dream was not just a comfort, it was a promise. Tamara was being cared for by the Heavenly Mother. She was under the gentle, protective hands of Mary, the mother of Jesus, the one who welcomes with tenderness and intercedes with love. And there, amid tears of gratitude and a heart strengthened by faith, Tamara felt God act. She felt that healing was only a matter of time, because love was already taking up residence within her. This true testimony is more than a story of overcoming. It is a message of faith, hope, and deep trust in God. What about you? What did you feel when you heard this powerful and loving story? Leave your opinion in the comments, and share this message with those who need a touch of faith in their hearts.